When oversight weakens, the consequences are rarely immediate, but they are always costly. A regulator issues a multi-million-euro fine. Investors demand answers. The board claims it was unaware. Management insists controls were in place. Documentation appears incomplete. This is not a failure of intelligence. It is a failure of structure. Corporate governance frameworks are often discussed, but rarely understood at their operational depth. Today, we examine what corporate governance frameworks truly mean inside a serious institutional governance environment. Not as theory, not as compliance rhetoric, but as structured accountability architecture. A corporate governance framework is the structured system of rules, responsibilities, documentation, reporting lines, and oversight mechanisms through which an organization is directed and controlled. It defines who makes decisions, who oversees decisions, who challenges decisions, who documents decisions, who escalates failures, where it fits in the governance lifecycle. A serious governance framework spans the entire lifecycle: onboarding, appointment of directors, committees, mandates, monitoring, ongoing performance and risk oversight, review, structured evaluation of policies and controls, escalation, clear channels for issue reporting, exit, removal, remediation, or restructuring when required, role separation, board, strategic direction, oversight, accountability, executive management, implementation and operational execution, operational functions, risk, compliance, internal audit, controls. Common misconception: governance frameworks are not policy binders. They are structural clarity systems. Why would a serious institution formalize governance so extensively? Because risk mitigation. Unstructured authority creates blind spots. 2. Regulatory expectation. Supervisory authorities expect documented governance architecture. 3. Fiduciary responsibility. Board members carry personal legal responsibility. 4. Investor protection. Institutional investors demand transparency. Reputation management. Trust is governance capital. Without formal frameworks, decision-making becomes personality-driven instead of principle-driven. Governance frameworks convert judgment into documented structure. This is where theory becomes institutional discipline. A functioning corporate governance framework includes governance documentation, and these are board charter, committee terms of reference, delegation matrices, risk appetite statement, code of conduct, reporting lines, and these are management reporting to board, committee reporting to full board, independent control functions reporting lines, committee involvement, and these are audit committee, risk committee, remuneration committee, nomination committee, frequency of review, and these are quarterly board meetings, annual policy reviews, ongoing risk reporting, escalation structure, these are defined thresholds, incident reporting channels, regulatory notification triggers, evidence collection, and these are meeting minutes, action trackers, decision logs, conflict of interest registers. This is where platforms like MPG differentiate. Governance is not episodic. It is structured lifecycle monitoring supported by disciplined documentation architecture. Corporate governance frameworks fail without documentation integrity. Key structural pillars: policy frameworks with version control, board and committee minutes with traceability, risk registers with ownership attribution, oversight reports with documented follow-up, due diligence questionnaires for third parties, audit trails across the governance lifecycle. Governance must be time-stamped, version-controlled, role-assigned, escalation-linked. This is where structured documentation flow, aligned with doc exchange-type lifecycle thinking, becomes critical. Documentation is not administrative burden, it is governance memory. Without memory, oversight collapses. Even mature institutions fail here. Common breakdowns. 1. Oversight gaps. No clarity between board and management responsibilities. 2. Paper governance. Policies exist, but enforcement does not. 3. Weak escalation. Issues identified but not elevated. 4. Documentation inconsistency. Minutes incomplete. Actions undocumented. 5. Board disengagement. Directors attend but do not challenge. 6. Over-reliance on management. Independent oversight becomes passive endorsement. Corporate governance frameworks fail not because they are absent, but because they are not operationalized. Scenario A, weak implementation. A mid-sized asset manager expands cross-border. Governance documents exist. However, no structured risk review cadence, delegation matrix unclear, escalation thresholds undefined. A compliance breach occurs in one jurisdiction. Board learns about it 6 months later. Regulator questions oversight effectiveness. Reputational damage follows. Scenario B, structured oversight. Same expansion, but risk committee reviews jurisdictional exposure quarterly. Escalation protocol predefined. Documentation centralized and version controlled. Board receives structured reporting. Incident detected early, mitigated quickly. Regulator informed transparently. Institution retains credibility. The difference? Framework operationalization. Corporate governance frameworks do not exist in isolation. They must align with supervisory authority expectations, industry governance codes, cross-border regulatory divergence, investor transparency demands. Cross-border institutions face added complexity, multiple regulators, divergent reporting standards, different escalation timelines, cultural governance differences. A structured framework provides stability across jurisdictional fragmentation. Corporate governance is evolving. We are moving toward digital board portals, real-time compliance dashboards, AI-assisted document review, automated risk flagging, integrated governance lifecycle platforms. However, technology enhances governance. It does not replace judgment. The future will belong to institutions that combine human oversight, structured documentation, digital traceability, lifecycle discipline. Governance is not about paperwork, it is about structured accountability. Corporate governance frameworks define decision clarity, role separation, escalation discipline, documentation integrity, board-level transparency. Without them, institutions drift. With them, institutions endure. If you would like us to explore delegation matrices, risk appetite frameworks, committee structuring, cross-border oversight, documentation architecture, red flag indicators, share your topic suggestions below. This is a professional discussion space. Subscribe for future deep dive governance analysis.